I could hear a fan hum, and the smell from before started to get worse. A bunch of old newspapers, wet pasted together. A message had been hastily smeared on it. Keep out, danger, due to cave in. I could still feel a faint impression of the rope I had slid down as I pressed against the heavy metal door. It was probably for the best that I hadn't jumped. The edge in my leg was bad enough as it was. If I could have stuff, I would have run straight out of those awful tunnels. Who would keep such a place? At least I thought I had found that old handgun. It seemed to work, and from the smell of it, it had been used already. I kept the gun in my pocket. It seemed a familiar weight there. An exposed ventilation shaft. Maybe someone crawled through there. But it was so high up that must have been a sore landing. There was dirt on the ground. It looked wet, and there was grass smeared within it. Odd, there was similar dirt on my own shoes. My leg arched, just thinking about it. I could hear a faint trickling sound, like water. What was that? I wasn't sure what those valves were for. Did I turn it anyway? The valve was still active. Did I turn it again? Whatever this valve did, this one wasn't pumping water anymore. I wasn't sure what those valves were for. Yes. I stop all of the pumps. So. Now I have to find another one of pump. I wasn't sure what tough it was, some kind of regulator. I had no idea how it worked. I wasn't sure what those was were for. Did I turn it anyway? The door was locked. There was a musty smell from inside. A kitchen knife, covered in drying blood. Thinking about it made me sick. I didn't even want to touch it. Did I take the knife? I slipped the knife in my boot, since I had the gun in my pocket. Did I really need all of this? Disgusting. It was a mess of filthy garbage bags. There were ribs and tears in most of the bags. What looked like an old videotape was sticking out. Did I take the tape? I wasn't sure what I hoped to discover with the tape, but I took it anyway. Turning those valves must have drained the water that was in this room. There was a ladder I could reach. Looked like the water drained out of that gate in the wall. The smell didn't improve much and the room was damp. The safety post had definitely seen better days. How old was that facility? The door was locked. I could see a faint light within. There was a security cam in the room. There must have been a way to see what had happened. Maybe the VHS tape I found could be useful. I found another dead body, a serial worker. By the wounds all over his face and body, I figured he'd been stabbed repeatedly. There was a key ring sticking out of the man's pocket. Did I take it? I thought about the knife I had found with some disgust as I carefully picked the case from his pocket. I was almost worried he was going to grab me. I was feeling even more sick from seeing another dead man. I didn't want to get any more blood on my clothes. I used the key ring to unlock the door. The shelf full of security tapes was strictly organized, through covered in dust. Looked like the tape I found was the one that was missing from the shelf. There was a dusty Faucier on the security desk. I wondered what was on that VHS tape I found. Did I play the tape? Jesus! The video showed a man right there in the sewers being attacked. The tape looked fuzzy and stretched, like somebody had tampered with it. It looked like there could have been two men. I couldn't stand to watch that video again. I wondered what was on the tape and why it was thrown out. I will go back to watch in the other room, who was closed. I tried a bunch of the keys on the keyring I had found on that Sears walker, and none of them seemed to fit. A collection of stale liquor bottles covered the floor. That room didn't seem like much of a place for drinking. What was the point? The wall was littered with dozens of old faded papers. Whoever did this was obsessed with some local murders. According to some of the clippings, bodies had been found in ravines in the forest, and in one case, dumped in the back of an abandoned truck. I couldn't be sure, but I thought some of these same articles had also been pasted up back in those tunnels. A faded receipt was half trampled on the floor. It was from the local train station and was for 2 tickets. I didn't know what use it could be, but did I keep the receipt? I neatly folded the sold receipt and slipped it into my front pocket. My sore leg and the extra weight I was carrying made climbing the ladder difficult. Would I need that gun or that knife before the end? The top of that videotape still gave me chills. Who was it that didn't want to be seen? Was it the same person that hid all those newspapers clippings away in that locked room? Suddenly the awful smell of that sewer gave way to the dank scent of pine trees. An old ladder leading up to an ancient water tower. The ladder needed to be extended, so I could climb it. Did I extend the ladder? I popped the latch and brought the ladder down. There are eyes in the dark. In a patch of smeared dirt and grass, there was a beat up old wallet. I thought it was mine. Did I take it? I slid the freezy wallet into my back pocket. I noticed it didn't contain any kind of gun permit. In fact, it didn't contain any cards or ID of any kind. I thought I should recover my credit card and driver's license at least. From the railing I could see over the woods and down to the entrance to the sewers. Had I come through there before? If I did, someone definitely could have seen me. Did I put this up there? Or was somebody else carrying it? The rusty door was locked, tied with an old padlock. The faded sign on the door warned about some kind of train yard. It must have referred to the town's only train station. It didn't look like I'd be able to get through there at all. The rusty door was locked. And again, and again, and again, and again.